Hi, and welcome to Federal Appraisal LLC's video series. In this video, we will be discussing rounding policies and ranges of value and how they apply to appraisals. The nature of appraisals is that they all have limits to their precision. This ultimately impacts the main conclusion of appraisals, the opinions of value. The limitations arise from inherent, unavoidable, and insurmountable imprecision of appraisal assumptions, data, inputs, and methodologies. This imprecision makes it unwise and even sometimes misleading to propose an opinion of value without rounding. As a result, opinions of value are often reported as rounded conclusions. Similarly, sometimes best appraisal practice calls for opinions of value to be presented as a range rather than a single point of value. Let's call the appraisal decision concerning the appropriate extent of rounding in ranges of value rounding policy. The inherent imprecision in the financial data, market data, and cost data used in the three approaches of value do not permit final value conclusions to the nearest whole dollar. For many properties, the appraisal inputs and assumptions allow accuracy to the nearest $10,000 or $100,000. For large properties and businesses, prudence may require that rounding accuracy fall to the nearest millions or even billions of dollars. Similarly, an appraiser may find that a client is best served by reporting conclusions as a range of value to the same magnitude. In ordinary appraisal practice, value conclusions are typically rounded to 2 to 4 significant digits from the left. For example, value conclusions from an income approach of $12 million or $12.3 million or $12.34 million would be typical if the mathematics of the income approach computed a final answer of $12,341,999.99. The Appraisal of Real Estate 14th edition states that an appraisal conclusion may be rounded to reflect the level of precision associated with the value conclusion. It is important to note that rounding may be appropriate at various stages within an appraisal, not only when drawing the final value conclusion. For example, an appraiser might round certain inputs and intermediate appraisal conclusions, including rental and expense rates, capitalization and discount rate inputs and conclusions, vacancy and absorption rates, cost rates and cost approach inputs, sales adjustments, rates and units of value, and many other appraisal assumptions and inputs. Ultimately, it is the precision of these inputs to the computation of value that drives the appropriate rounding policy for the final value conclusion. A single number conclusion is most common in modern practice, as most appraisal is conducted on a deterministic philosophy. For range of value conclusions address the imprecise nature of appraisals in ways that serve some clients well. Even a simple range of value computation begins to address the stochastic nature of appraisal work and results. Let's discuss an example using cost approach. Strong market data provides 3 possible estimates for the cost per square foot. Given the even distribution of the 3 cost data points, most appraisers would conclude based on the middle estimate, resulting in a deterministic valuation. However, prudent appraisers would not report the value in this case as $23,456,640 because the precision of the middle input estimate, $190 per square foot, could actually vary as much as $20 per square foot, and is dispersed from other reliable indications of value by as much as $10 per square foot. These ranges indicate that the value may actually diverge as much as $1,234,560. Given the imprecision in this case, greater than $1 million, one may be tempted to round to the nearest $10 million. But a $20 million value conclusion would be outside of the range indicated by the data, $22,222,080 to $24,691,200. Still, the rounding ought to be one of the highest magnitudes. In this circumstance, many appraisers would round to $23 million. Now imagine different circumstances where the middle cost estimate is $190 per square foot and the other estimates only vary as much as $10 per square foot and are dispersed from other reliable indications of value as much as $5 per square foot. Here, the value could vary as much as $600,000, thus indicating that the rounding to the nearest $1 million would be appropriate. While rounding to $23 million would be acceptable, most appraisers would likely round to the nearest $100,000 and conclude $23.5 million. Lastly, imagine another set of circumstances where the middle estimate is still $190 per square foot, but estimates only vary as much as $2 per square foot, and are dispersed from other reliable indications of value by as much as $1 per square foot. Here, the value can vary as much as $100,000, thus indicating that rounding to the nearest $100,000 could be appropriate. Most appraisers would likely round to the nearest $10,000 or $100,000 and conclude $23.5 million or $23.46 million. Besides rounding to a single point of value, the appraiser could have recognized and reported the imprecision in the unit cost per square foot by concluding on a range of values. Note that even the ranges are often rounded. In this case, we rounded the low value up and the high value down to the nearest $100,000. In these scenarios, we can see that as the input precision increases, the range of value decreases, reducing the range of the rounding policy. In these cost scenarios, we have assumed that each of the three cases are equally valid. In the real world, appraisers may rightly believe one or more of the scenarios are more reliable than the others. In this case, an appraiser may wish to round up or down and give more weight to the more reliable data between the scenarios. This is often done in the final reconciliation of an appraisal, where the indicated values of the three approaches are each weighed in order to conclude a final opinion of value. This is another place where rounding policy may have an impact. Of course, the need to round occurs in many areas within an appraisal besides cost approach for cost per square foot. In the sales approach, for example, when appraisers are making qualitative adjustments, percentage adjustments are often made in rounding percentages from the nearest 5 or 10%. In the income approach for commercial properties and business appraisals, rental rates and gross income rates are often rounded to the nearest whole dollar, and capitalization and discount rates are often rounded to the nearest 0.1% or 0.25%. These key inputs will limit the precision of the final outputs. Appraisers should consider alternative credible inputs before setting their rounding policy, as values may unintentionally appear distorted. This may entail testing multiple key variables, assumptions, and methodologies simultaneously, or may require additional statistical analyses, Monte Carlo simulations, or options analyses. These techniques are advanced and are appropriate to address some of the problems caused by deterministic models. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe down below.